Hey everyone, Dan here with John on the Designer Show. Welcome today. Uh, we've got nothing planned for you today, so we're relying on you guys for a little help. Actually, just I was just telling John that I've been just so busy. It's just been inundated with requests for help and questions, and then just with everything else going on, it's just like So I don't know. I don't know if have you been getting that feeling at all, John, lately? You've been keeping pretty busy.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy.
Yeah.
I get a few down minutes a day.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, I always deal with that, and I'm sure a lot of you guys in the industry too deal with a little bit of overwhelm sometime. And it's just, you're trying to get some work done and then you get a call and you get interrupted and you get back to it. And then you get a call and you get interrupted. By the end of the day, you've got nothing done.
And then you have a day when none of that happens and you wonder what to do with yourself.
Well, kind of, that happens too. So it's interesting. And as remodelers and as designers, you know darn well that, you'll be working on a plan and I think you're going to get it done. And I swear to God, I've had, about 5 people this last week say, I need a few minutes of your time. Actually, the last 2 weeks, maybe a couple hours. And the next thing you know, I'm doing the whole plan for them. It's just like, so my 2-hour thing goes to 10 hours. And it's just like, well, there goes my plan, my schedule. I'm sure that never happens to you guys on the call, but, you work your plan, you plan your work. I don't know, there's something there, but anyway, we all do the best we can. And that's kind of the bottom line. And for me too, I could do a double whammy because I'm trying to do my Pro Academy stuff too. And now I've had to put that on hold the last 2 weeks. So it's like, anyway. So anyway, looking at a lighter week next week. So that'll be good.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Of course, I say that on Monday. I don't have any appointments. On Monday morning, you don't have any appointments. And by Monday noon, it's like your week's full already. So it's just like, yeah, it's a good problem to have. I'm loved. Yeah. What can I say? Anyway, let's talk about a few things. You guys have some questions, by all means, just chime in. I'll start out quickly. If you're not part of the Pro Academy yet, we do have the templates over there. So you're, those are all set up and ready to go for you in the Pro Academy. So don't hesitate to check that out over at chiefexpertsacademy.com. Now, let's talk a little Chief today. I got a call here. This is one of those clients I was just telling you about. And so let me add this to the screen. So I got a client call and the client says, well, I want to add some trellises to his plan. And, I get it. People are busy and they don't have time to put the effort into, detailing something like this. And even this is still pretty conceptual, but it's enough for them. They can start doing estimates and things like that. So when I got the plan, and it's actually an interesting topic, John. How would you handle something like this? So let me go open up what I got when we started this, and let's see if I can find it here. Bear with me. Come on. Yeah. So here, client sent me this and so they got a first floor and a second floor and, okay. So he just grabbed some things out of the library and proceeded to put the plan together. And okay, so there we go. Let me put the second floor on. So, it kind of gives you an idea of what they're after. This is a symbol that, just got shoved into the wall. And so same symbol, he just made bigger. And this is another symbol that he set there. And the idea is, let's just do this. And he calls me and okay, I want to add some things to my plan. And I thought, well, okay, that's fine. So I'm thinking, a couple, 3 hours, I could probably get a couple trellises drawn for him and we'll call it good. Well, as I'm getting into it, I want to get it right. I want to get the railing right. I want to get everything right because that's the way I like to draw. So what I typically do with a lot of plans, and this is a really good tip for you guys. I'm pretty particular. I really want to get my client's plans correct. I mean, right? Isn't that what we're here for?
I remember when I used to call you with questions and stuff, and I'd
Yeah.
ask your question, and an hour and a half later, you were off with other things and fixing other things in my plan.
Well, exactly. And, because we want it to be right. We don't want to send someone out in the field with a plan that they have to redraw or rethink the whole plan.
Right.
And again, that happens all the time. And so
My
now I'm getting.
My comment was kind of a dig to you're going down rabbit trails.
Well, but is it a rabbit trail? That's actually a good question I'd like to ask. Is it a rabbit trail? Is it a rabbit trail for me to stop the planning process of just adding a few trellises to his plan to a project he's got? He's going to build it. He needs a set of drawings to get permits. And instead of just starting to draw a bunch of 3D stuff, start with this.
Right.
All right.
To get it right. You're right.
To get it right. I mean, what's your foundation? What's your floor? What's your ceiling? What's your wall? How's the roof going to be built? What kind of railings are you going to use? What are the trellises going to look like? It's just like.
And the thing is, to go through this process, it gives you such a peace of mind that the plan is working.
Yes.
Chief is doing what you want it to do. You give it the right information to do what you want it to do, and you're getting it right.
So what I find with a lot of people in Chief Architect, and maybe this is true for other CAD, with SketchUp and other 3D programs too, people want to jump right into creating a nice 3D model. And again, part of the whole process is trying things. So this is fine. What the client sent me here was awesome, because it was a really good starting point to get something that we could visualize and start talking about.
Right.
But to take something like this and assume that all of a sudden you're going to jump into a working drawing, it doesn't happen that way. So, I mean, I've got at least 10 to 12 hours into this plan from the time I first talked to the guy, which actually I thought was not too bad, considering I I had to figure all this stuff out. And when you think about something like this too, and you tell me guys, where you're at, you think about this, it's like, I didn't just all of a sudden draw this out of my head because I thought I should do that. I had to stop and ask a ton of questions and figure this stuff out. Mm-hmm. We spent time on, what kind of, what are you going to put on the rubber roof that you're putting up there? So we logged on to the internet and looked at the website. He told me the product that he was going to use. So I understood that, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Because flat roofs, whenever you have walkable flat roofs, they can be a real problem. So, I want to be sure that when I put a plan out there that I'm recommending, and the client said this is what they're thinking of, cool, we're on the same page. So we spent a little time researching that. Even to the point of, well, it's kind of a storage / office kind of a building. So now the questions come up, well, are you going to heat it? If you're going to heat it, are we going to do heated footing? We're going to insulate the footings. We're going to insulate the floor. And his comments, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to insulate the walls and ceiling. And maybe on this type of structure, that's okay. But again, maybe not. It's Wisconsin where this is going. So there's that whole series of asking questions. So anyway, I hope you guys see where I'm going with this. And I really want you to take that to heart when you start a plan. It's, John, do you ever do this where you start with a cross section in your planning process versus just jumping right into the 3D model?
Sometimes, if it's something unique like this, definitely.
Yeah.
Getting my heights and stuff. I'm pretty good about keeping things straight in my head when it comes to this kind of stuff, because I built for so many years.
Yeah.
But
so now let's take this particular detail a little bit further. All right. He wants to do an 1/8 inch sloping floor up here, eighth of an inch and a foot. All right. So that's a 3-inch drop. All right. So my question is, well, do you want to try to keep the railings level or on the outside? And then if so, are you going to have parapet walls and how are you going to, we're going to do that? And he says, no, we're going to just do, we want to use this material that will just, let's see, let me get back to this model. So we're going to use this material that will just hang out over the edge. Okay. And it'll drain down into a gutter on the other end. And he says, well, and it's okay just to have the railing slope that 3 inches. And because you don't notice it. Apparently he's done this before. Or something. Anyway, so I initially started out trying to make that all sloping. You can't make sloping railings in Chief very easily. And so finally, after spending about an hour of just trying it, because that's what we like to do, right, John?
Yep.
We like to see if we can figure this stuff out.
You'd have to build it with a ramp.
My initial idea was I'll just I'll use a roof, and I'll get that 1/8 inch sloping roof, and I can make the roof thicker and put the band border on the edge and all that stuff. And I started doing that, and I thought, well, then I'll draw the railings, and then I'll just have the railings. I'll make them into a symbol. I'll bring them back in. I'll tilt them a little bit.
Sure.
But then the railings, then your balusters are crooked. They wouldn't be straight up.
So you build your railings off of a ramp, and then bring the symbol and bring them in.
No, we just decided, you know what? Just make it all level. Don't even bother. Don't even bother. Okay. For the 3D model, this is enough. For the cross section, we've got this, which is accurate. Okay. So that does show the slope. It's going to show the truss company that when they build their trusses here, yeah, they're going to slope them. Okay. And that's bottom line. So the elevations are a tad off. And so, how do you handle that? Because the elevations of this project are not, they're not, on the 2 ends, that's not going to bother. But on this end here, where you typically you would want to see it accurate, and you want to see that slope, that's not accurate. It's off 3 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're on the same page as, the client I'm working with, and okay, fine. We'll just work it that way. Not a problem. Anyway, so all the different things that go into the thought process of a plan like this, and to get it right, to get it so they can now take this, and I could still do a little more work on this. I got to detail those trellises a bit more if they're going to build them like I've got them drawn. And I personally, after I think about it, I don't necessarily care much for exactly how I did it. This one's okay, but the other ones, depending on the material, they could start warping and moving too much. So we got to give that some more thought. Anyway, a lot of things go into just what should be a simple little project. So, so what do you guys think? You guys, when you get projects, how do you start them, and how do you get into that process? So let's just talk a little bit about how I started creating the trellis. And did I delete some of the stuff I used?
Are you in the wrong plan? Or are you in the?
No, this is the right one.
What have you been working on?
Yeah, no, this is the right one. So what I do sometimes when I'm creating things like this, okay. So if I do a cross section of this, okay, all right, get up here. I just want to go through one. There we go. So there's a bit of a cross section. All right. So whenever I start drawing stuff like this, all right, my goal is to get it right the first time. So I'm almost thinking when I'm drawing stuff like this that I'm in a cross section. I'm actually drawing a cross section. So let me show you how I would draw that board right there. Okay. It's not a framing member. It's nothing. It's just a slab. But I would generally always start by drawing it in 2D versus drawing it in 3D. All right. It's much easier to work with the 2D CAD tools than it is to work with a 3D slab, a 3D object from the get-go. What I do is draw it 2D and then I convert it to 3D. Much easier to do. So what I do, let me show you how I created that. So I'm going to just draw this, okay, and I'm going to give it a height. And I think I was at a 2x8 on that. So, if I were using the Chief tools the way I'm supposed to, I'd be drawing that and I'd hit my tab key. And then I'm going to make this, 60, and I'm going to make this minus 7.25, and then click OK. So again, you hit your tab key. Now you can spell out what you want those dimensions to be. All right. So now I'm going to pull that over there. And then what I did is I drew what's going to be that beam there, and I put that in, and And I wasn't too worried about the length at this point because even though I'm going to have this end here shaped like that, I can always pull this end bigger and shorter to get it exactly as I want it. So again, my goal is to get the first object drawn exactly the way I want to. Now, how do I create an end like that? Okay, let's just talk about that for a second. It's really easy, actually. So again, I'm working with the 2D CAD tools, which, 2D CAD box, which is, you get snapping everywhere. You don't have to worry about when you're on the surface of a 3D object, you don't always get snapping. So let me show you an example of that. So if I go on the outside of the building here and I do a cross section looking at this trellis, all right. So if I wanted to snap something to something, it doesn't always work. Now this is not as bad in this kind of a deal. Let's see if I get my snapping on all the corners. Yeah. So I am getting good snapping here. How about on my pole here? So on my post, not so much. Why is my post short? Did I screw something up? Possibly. So I don't get any snapping on my post here. Okay, so, oh yeah, looks like I lowered it by accident. Here you go. Let's raise that back up. So let's raise that up 3 inches. I think that I moved something, yeah. So I guess I missed something. So if I wanted to snap something to that, I don't get any snapping to that object. Okay, and that's really typical with a lot of things in Chief. When you're trying to snap something to a fascia or to an overhang or to other objects in your plan. You know what I'm talking about, John, when you're trying to snap to something?
Yep.
Okay. So what I always do when I'm working on something and I want to snap to it, I'm going to go through it. So do your cross section through the object like this. So I'm cutting through that post. And now I've got to cut through of that post. Now I've got snapping on all of the edges. So I can snap anything to, anywhere on the post. Now I can't grab that post and move it. I can open its dialog. Actually, I guess I can grab it and move it. I didn't think I could. So cut through the object when you want to get snapping going on. Okay. So again, to be quite honest, that post is made out of a kitchen countertop. And the reason I made it out of a kitchen countertop is because I wanted the post to be solid in the middle. And then I just added moldings to the outside of it. So I created that countertop. I turned off height from, well, I guess I didn't. I should have turned off set height from cabinet. Maybe that's why it moved. And then I just went to my moldings and I added these moldings.
So you did the countertop to get the solid.
Mm-hmm.
And then you use the perimeter of the countertop for your molding line.
Exactly. Yeah, I wrap those moldings around the outside. So, just because it says that a countertop, it doesn't mean it has to be a countertop.
Right.
Okay. I could have done the same thing with a soffit. I could have done almost the same thing with a molding polyline. And the only difference between countertop molding, a countertop object, and a molding polyline is that your molding polyline is going to wrap around whatever size you make the object on your plan. So in other words, if I were to take a box or molding polylines are right here. These things are amazing. Everything that you can do with all of these in your plan. I mean, you want to make 3D objects, this is the way to do it. These things are amazing. So if I take a molding polyline and I were to, I'm jumping around here quite a bit, but that's okay. We're having fun. So I draw a molding polyline and then I open its dialog and now I can attach shapes to it. Anything that you can draw, any shape you can draw can be added to this box now. So I could go in here and I could pick out from here. Let me go to my user catalog and I'll pick out some things that I've drawn. So I've got some molding profiles and here I've got, where did I put my, I had something called columns here. Here it is. So here's some different shapes that I've drawn in the past. Like, let's look at this one. See the shape of that. So I just drew that out in CAD lines. All right. Thank you. All right. And so I just drew that in CAD full size, and now I can wrap that around the outside of this molding line. Actually, I got to make sure I click this extrude inside polyline off, and then I can wrap that around. See how it shows up now?
Is there no way to set that as a default to, because most of the time I want my
no, I
want
don't
to go to the outside.
I don't think so, John, because every time that I go into and I add a new one, let's see if when I add another object, you can add more things to the same polyline. See, it turns it on automatically.
Right. So I was just wondering default where you can turn that off.
I don't think so. You just got to be aware that it's there and make sure you check it.
I wonder if it has to be turned on to get the molding inside of a room to go right. And that's using the same exact tool.
I think if you're using a room molding line from the tools down here, make a room molding polyline.
Yep.
That I'm pretty sure. So when you first get this menu, when you do a room molding polyline, it says you can convert a molding, but basically what you want to do is set the height, because I can't really pick anything here. But I'll just set a height to, like, I'm going to do a chair rail. So I'm going to set it to 36 inches. And what Chief will do when you do the 36 inches, it'll notice wherever there's a window and a door, and it'll break it at the casing of those objects. So when I click OK, now you see how that CAD line is broken at all those spots. And when I open it now and add a molding to it, and it put a base molding on there, I'll go ahead and I'll replace that with something else. So let's go in here and pick a chair rail, and I'll just pick something like that. Okay. So Chief's going to attach itself to that line now.
Right.
And you'll notice that it added the outline here, but you'll see at the doorways, it ends at the casing. It ends at that break. So Chief did break it at those spots automatically because I gave it a height. If I would have given it a height higher than the doors, then that molding would have run right through the doors and the windows, because those are also at 80 inches.
Right.
So that's.
And my point was, Chief is using that same tool that you were using to put the molding in the room, and that most of the time you want it to extrude to the inside.
Correct. And
so
in this case,
that's a default to do the inside. And
because I did it inside of a room, it did, that is checked in automatically.
Right.
Putting it inside of itself.
Right.
Which is what it does with all the moldings. But if I did it on the outside of the building, it would also be inside the walls. So if I did the same thing around the outside, if I click where I get that box around those walls and I add a molding polyline there.
Yep, it's going to want to extrude to the inside.
No, it's good. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. It's going to want to extrude to the inside.
But you go to the outside.
So then you got to be aware to push that button.
Yep.
And of course, I'm sure at least half the time I miss that too. And I go, crap it. I don't see the molding. So I go, oh yeah, it's going inside the wall now. So then you got to
coming through. It's kind of, I know what I did.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't uncheck that. Bam. So now it'll be on the outside. So now I can see it. So yeah, it's funny how that works. So there's that little molding I just added right there. And there's one on the inside I just added. It's really a cool tool. All the things that you can do it with those molding polylines. I really like them. But back to where I started back before I went down that trail.
That right trail's my fault.
Oh, that's okay. It's all the same item. It's the same molding kind of thing we're talking about in solids.
All right.
Anyway, please talk slow and use small words.
Yeah, I put that back as soon as you started talking about that. So.
Thanks, Jeff. I thought I did use small words.
Jeff, you just have to do it over and over and over
again. I've been making a new plot for 2 and ceiling, then work from that. Yeah, never draw rooms in an attic. All right, always create a floor for that space. Yep. What Jeff was asking there. So whenever you start a plan and you draw some walls, so yes, we're jumping around, and you create the room, even if you're doing like a story and a half or something where you're going to have rooms up there, Chief automatically creates the attic. The attic, where it says the A here, that's where Chief's going to put all the walls that it creates to fill in the gable and things like that. never draw in that. You can draw in it, but never try to create rooms in there. It's only there for chief to store its walls for gable ends and things like that. It's never meant to have rooms. So always create a new floor when you're doing that and draw in there.
So if Jeff wanted to put an auto roof on this and have it be 2 inches high, sit right on basically right on the first story wall, making the floor 2 inches tall like he did is exactly what he needs to do.
Correct. That's one way to do it. I mean, again, if you're doing a story and a half, I'll give the old quick story and a half lesson. So when I go into here and I draw some walls. Again, remember to draw your walls with your right mouse button so you stay hooked up. Okay. So we want to do a story and a half here, and come on, get over there. All right. So I could go ahead and do a 2-story plan, go ahead and create a new floor, build a new floor. Get on the right tool might help. Make a new second floor from the first floor. There we go. Okay, cool. And then let's go add a roof. So I'm going to just pop a roof on real quick, build a roof. And so there I've got a 2-story hip roof, which you go on. That's not what you want. So what we do then is we go and we start converting these to gables. So, and this is, we want to turn the auto rebuild roof on so that we can, I really love that. I'm really glad they added that tool, the auto rebuild roof thing.
Yeah.
It's just really very helpful. And I make that into a gable. All right. So there's my 2-story house and I need a story and a half. Okay. All I'm going to do is take that roof. And I've done this enough. I know what I need to do.
You're going to get rid of your auto rebuild roof. You're not.
Yeah. That'll turn off as soon as I try to move the roof. So I'm going to lock the pitch, or actually I want that to be steeper. So I'm going to make that a 10-12. And then I'm going to lock that. And then I'm going to go lower my whole roof about 8 feet, minus 8 feet. And, I could go into a cross section after I do that. But here's where it says you got to turn your auto roof off now. So sure, go ahead. And so there's my story and a half. Now I've got a 2-story house, but it's a story and a half. So now when I go in and add interior walls, the roof will cut off those walls automatically. I don't have to worry about them not cutting off. So if I go here.
It shows the attic floor.
Pardon me?
It shows the attic floor now too.
In that one. So yeah, so you're going to see those 2 little gables there. Those little gables right there. So Chief, wherever the ceiling height is, Chief's going to put a gable above that. So if I were to go down here and I lowered the ceiling, and this is a great way to determine where your knee walls go. I'll just go down to, I'll just make the ceilings 4 feet tall. I'll make it 48 inches because I want a 48-inch knee wall. See how it lowered the ceiling? Watch what happens to these dotted lines now that represent where the ceiling starts sloping. They move out. They move out to there now. So now I can, here, let me just go turn on this setting right here into my 3D. I'll go into my hide the camera facing exterior walls. This is an awesome tool. So now I can see that. So see how the ceiling lowered and see where that sloping is. So now I just draw my knee walls in there, or my walls. They're really not knee walls. You just draw walls, put them where you want them.
I wish we could map to that line.
I do too. That would be really nice. But anyway, so there, you can see now where how the roof is cutting off the walls. You got a little space here that you're going to want to mark as an attic. You got a room here that you can mark whatever room, whatever you want. So what I always do is in those kind of spaces, you name them an attic, because the room name attic does things to the, it helps Chief understand what's going on. Plus it, takes the flooring out and makes it really simple.
Just a quick comment about snapping to those lines. If you have a ton of those and it's going to take you a while to get walls on top of all of them, change them to CAD lines and then paste them back in there.
Yeah.
And you can
so let me show you what John is talking about. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to just reset my ceiling back to the default here by clicking on the little wrench icon. And so that'll raise the ceiling back up. And now I've got my knee wall where I want it. So what John was saying with these dotted lines like this, just do this. Just take that and hit this to convert it to CAD lines. Okay, so That'll make it CAD lines, and then you can just click on those lines in the CAD detail, because Chief's going to store that in the CAD detail window now, this little icon right here. And hit the copy button and go back to your floor plan and hit paste hold position. Now you've got something to snap to.
Yeah. If you have a ton of them, if it's just a couple, you can do it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Eyeballing it.
Yeah. A lot of times too, what I'll do on some of my plans is I kind of want to show people the progression of the ceiling heights.
Mm-hmm.
So I might go in here and I'll lower the ceiling to, like 6 feet. And then I'll just go in here and draw some lines. Move. Oh, I must have put the wrong number in there. It looks like I added 6 feet. Oh yeah, I didn't change that. 6 feet. There we go. So if I had some dotted lines in there, I could just take those and put them right there. I'm not going to even, I just want to get it close. So I'm just going to get it really, pretty much close on top of that. And then I'll just add some text that says that's 6 foot. And then I'll raise my ceiling back up to 8 feet. And so people can have a sense of, oh yeah, there's where the head height is at 6 feet. Right, yeah, right there. So I do that a lot of times, a story and a halves. Because sometimes too, you can only count the square footages of, was it 80 inches?
Yeah. I
think it's 80 inches, 6'8". Yeah, I think it's 6'8" or something like that. Maybe it's 7 feet, but you can only count that in the square footage. So then I might actually take those lines and make a box out of it, and then get the square footages out of that box. So here's my handle, man.
Just use your drawing, complete the polyline.
Yeah. That's weird.
You got 3 sides done.
Yeah, there it is. So then I would just grab the square footage out of there and type that on the floor plan. So you just go to your area. There's your area right here. And so that's what I would put for my story and a half square footage. Anyway, lots of different ways to do that.
We've almost over 30 minutes has gone already.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about anything, have we?
Well, we have. So I suggest there's a couple questions that people asked. We should probably get back to.
Okay.
If you want Ken to go back to the molding.
Let me finish this. Gotta love these shows. Okay, so I want to make this shape on that end. Here's how I do that. All right, I'm going to use the brake tool, this tool right here. And again, I don't ever click it because I'm always using the number 3 key. All right, that's my brake keystroke. So I'm going to hit number 3, and I'm going to put a brake here. I'm going to hit number 3, and I'm going to put a brake here. And then I'll pull this in, and I'll pull this up, and I'll dimension that to whatever I want that to be. Maybe an inch. I want this to be an inch or 1.5 inches or whatever you want it to be. Okay, so I'm getting my square ends just the way I want them. Then I need to add one more brake here. So I'll put one right about there. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it up to there. All right, so there's that. So I've got that shape going. Now I'm going to break this once, and I'm going to convert both of those lines to arcs. So I'm going to click on this line, convert it to an arc, and that's going to come down. I might, maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know. Then I'm going to click this line and convert it to an arc, and that's going to go up like this. There's your end. All right. See how simple that is? And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to convert it to a 3D object by clicking the little magic wand tool. And once we do that, I'll give it a thickness. So I'm going to make it a polyline solid. Make it however thick you want, 1.5 or whatever. And then I'll put that on a layer so that I can control, turn that on and off. So what I would do is I'd go put it on a layer, and I would call it a 3D slab. And I always call, like his columns and parts. And sometimes I needed to turn the tops off. So I made a top off. So now I have that on a layer that I can control. And there you go. Now, Chief does also give you the option to add that to a framing member. And so if I did use framing.
You're talking about just the end of it there.
Just the end of it, yes. So let's say I did want to use that actual framing for that. So I draw a joist. I don't think, can I draw a joist out in midair? Yeah, okay. So I draw something like this, and I open its dialog, and I'll make it 1.5 inches thick. It's going to be under lumber. And then what I could do, maybe I'm thinking wrong about this.
No, I know you can do it with rafters. I don't know if I've ever done it with just a joist. I was watching Scott the other day do this. I bet he was using X13. He was. That's a new feature in X13. You can add ends, any shape end to a joist. Yeah.
So that's what it was.
You can do it with rafters in X12 or even older version.
Yeah, you can. But I've had issues with that on certain projects that I've done. It doesn't always work really well. Doing the slabs like this works great. You can't put them on a material list for framing or anything like that. So if you're using a material list, it's kind of a moot point. But anyway, so that's a little bit about how you do that. Here's that column that I was showing you before. So, see, where did that one go? I just drew. It must be up here.
Yep. Well,
was
the layer turned off?
That's what I'm wondering. No. Did I not convert it? Thought I did.
No, you didn't convert it because it turned gray.
Yeah. Did I accidentally delete it?
You might have.
Oh, well. Oh, well. Let me undo a few things. See. Oh, there it is. It ended up over here. Got hidden. So anyway, I was just saying that if I wanted to make that a round column now, okay, I would just simply convert this to arcs. So I'm going to make that line an arc and make it make it a tangent. Then I would pull this up to the middle, make that an arc, make that, well, that didn't work. That an arc. Why is it doing that, John?
Not sure. Oh, I know why. It's not tall enough. You need to make it twice as tall. That wasn't tall enough to make a complete arc in it.
Okay.
There you go.
So that's how you could make that same shape, or any shape that you want. So any shape you draw, and that's all I did is I drew that in a cross section. Here's that joist I created. Okay, what are some of the questions we have?
For you, since you couldn't find that piece that you made.
I did find it right there.
I did find it.
Yeah.
Where is that? Where is Chief drawing that in relation to the camera that you used to take this view?
All right. So when you're in an elevation and you draw something, if I were to draw it above this ceiling height, that slab's going to be on the second floor. If I draw it below the ceiling height, it'll be on the first floor.
I'm talking more about is it drawing it right at the camera line, or is it drawing it on a wall if there's a wall behind it?
If I well, let's say here, this cross section that I'm looking at is right.
Where's the camera at that you drew that piece with?
It's, I don't know. Let's close these and find out. I don't even know.
We draw stuff like that all the time, and then we can't find it. So where is Chief actually drawing that on the?
Let me get to this. Let me draw. Let's put a new camera in. Okay. So if I draw a camera between these two joists, and I draw on top of this joist, that box should be on top of that joist.
Now draw another one, convert it, and then draw another one above it.
So if I were to look at that.
Did you convert it?
Oh, that would help, wouldn't it? Yeah. No, I did. Actually, I drew a slab, a solid.
Okay.
That's under CAD framing, though, because I'm in my cross-section view.
Okay.
So I would need to turn that layer on my floor plan. But let's go start here with this. So if I go like that, and I convert that, and make it a slab, okay. So I can see what layer it's on. Now it's on CAD default. All right. And so if I go back to my floor plan, It should be right against that joist where I had converted it to.
Started where you started drawing it.
Correct.
Okay.
So it was on top of that joist. So whatever you draw it on top of, it should go to that item. If you're, so if you're out here and you're drawing something out here, it's going to put it on top of that wall.
Right.
So if I go here, it's going to put it on top of that wall.
If you draw it off to the left or right, then it's not on top of anything.
If I go up here, it should put it on top of that post.
Right.
Okay. So it's whatever you draw, you start drawing it on. So this one will be on the second floor. This one will be on the first floor.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go back to my floor plans, and again, they're both going to be on the framing layer, which I don't want them to be. So I'll put them on a different layer. I'll go here. Okay. If I look at those in my 3D,
There's that one didn't do it. It put it way out in the.
no, it's there. So this one, it put it way out here for some reason.
Yeah, that one, it didn't do it on the post.
That one, I have no idea why it did that. It should have
one-
put it against there.
Wall there maybe or something. But that
No.
one, that second one you drew did it right at the camera line.
Did it right there.
Go look at the where the camera is on the floor plan. That's going to be the front of the camera where that put that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or not?
No, it's not. It's in a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know, Jim.
All right.
Sometimes you have to go hunt for them.
Yeah.
For the most part, they put them on where you draw.
If you have trouble finding them, just put them on their own layer and turn everything else off, and they'll pop right up.
Mm-hmm. What kind of questions?
We got some questions.
What do we got?
Kayla was the first one to ask a question today.
Which
Talk
one?
about adding comments to schedules, please. No matter what I do, I can't figure out how to add content and comments that aren't defaults.
So we're talking about like a note schedule or a window and door schedule.
On a window schedule or a door schedule or cabinet.
Okay, so if I go add a window schedule to this plan, and we put that there. First of all, you got to make sure you have the comment in the comment column turned on in your schedule. And again, if you click on the schedule and open its dialog box, you can add that to this list over here by clicking on it here and adding that to the list. Okay, so you'll notice there's a lot of things you can add to your list of comment or to your schedule, but make sure your comments there. So then what you would do is go into a window, and let's find a window. Oh, don't even have any windows in this plan. Weird. You notice that. So there I just added a window. So when I go to this window and I open its dialog box, let's see. Let's go into the dialog box. And we go to components or go to schedule. No, go to components. Where is that? Object information. I'm sorry. Object information. Here's that comment. So, and you should have that with just about all the objects in Chief. So when I click on that, it should be over here now. Okay. So you can also add the code in the manufacturer, but make sure those columns are turned on.
So now if you put another window in there in that size, if you copy that, it's going to keep the same comment with it.
Right. And it'll just change the number to 2.
Can I add the comment to it?
No, if I change, well, let's see, if I keep the window and I just change the size of it, yeah, it keeps that comment.
So that's what she's struggling with.
So you have to go back into that window then and change or delete that comment or turn it off. So if you're copying from the same window and you've added a comment, you got to go back into that item and go to the object info and turn that item off or get rid of it.
But if she waits to do the comment and copies the 2 windows and then just goes to one window and makes a comment on that one window, that's the only place the comment will show up.
Right. No, if you put a comment in a window and you copy it, the comment will be in the copied window. Here's another way to do it. So you look at this and you say, well, I don't want that comment here, or I want to change that comment. Mm-hmm. You can click on the schedule and click on this little icon down here with the little magnifying glass, and when you click the column in the schedule and click that, it'll go open up that items object. Or did I click the wrong thing here? Let me do that again. Find object and plan. I want to actually open that object. So I want to click on this one, open that object. And that'll open that window. Or if there's more than one, it'll, you're changing whatever number you have. So again, there's that comment, and then I could go either type a different comment here or change it. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that answers that question.
So if it's already listed as a single window, you can go change the comment like that. If it's a bunch of windows that are the same size that you copied and pasted around, you'd have to use the other button and go to the plan and pick that window and put the comment just on that one window, and then it'll make it separate in the list.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That helped.
I mean, each object is its own thing. So,
Right.
in this case, I have two of the same one. So if you want two of the same size windows, but you want one to be, white and one to be black, you would need to change the elements of that.
Or you need to make a comment about its placement. It might be you want it to be, it's a remodel and you want that window to be 6 inches from a wall or something like that. So you put that comment in there. So they would use that instead of the dimension that you gave them.
When I changed the comment of this window, which was the same as that window,
you copied those two, right?
It added in another item.
Right.
Okay. Same exact size window. Everything's the same label and everything, but the comment is different for that. So, so you might have, this is a wood window. This is a clad window.
Yep. Could
be your comment.
Yep. Okay. We answered Jeff's question already. Tyrone asked, is this program closely accurate to Revit?
Say that one more time.
Is this program closely accurate to Revit? Or maybe he was thinking the same, similar. I'm not sure what the question is exactly, but.
Well, Chief Architect is a niche program for drawing buildings. Okay. As such, they've created, these kinds of deals. Chief target market is residential. All right. And light commercial. You can do that really well. On the other hand, Revit is a program that, and this is kind of true for AutoCAD too, you can draw anything you want with it, but it's really geared more toward commercial, big buildings, industrial, that kind of stuff. And as such, you get the tools to do that kind of stuff. A lot more tools and a lot more information, a lot more details. I haven't really used Revit, but I've seen like in their dialogue for Windows. Okay. So when you look at one of their dialogues, they're going to have like, another, 25, 30 items to define that menu. They're going to have more items to define that. So you're going to get massive amounts of customization within each menu, which we really just don't need to do what we need to get the job done here for our industry. So Revit's an amazing program. I've seen some of the things that you can do with it. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's owned by AutoCAD. They bought it many years ago. But we just don't need that type of complexity in a program. I mean, Chief's complicated enough,
right?
Much less Revit's going to be, I would guess maybe 10 times more complicated to learn. So your learning curve will be far, far greater.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to draw pretty much anything with it.
Right. Alex asks, what save plan view do you start terrain on? In your template, where's the terrain going to show up at?
Well, quite often I'll add terrain to my architectural plan. So if I click my terrain button and add terrain, I think I've already got it in here. Or you could just go to the plot plan. So the terrain can be on any plan. I'm really going to only show it on my floor plan in one of the plot plans. when I go to my plot plan and survey, that's the only place I'm going to show the terrain when I'm putting it in a plan. And even at that, I might be using a plan footprint window to show the terrain. You know, it depends. Now in 3D, what I like to do is when I bring up a 3D view, I'm going to have one of two, you know, either I'm going to look, either I just want to see the building or I want to see the building on the terrain. So that's where I go to 3D overview with the full overview. And then I also have a no terrain. So I can turn the terrain off. Kind of simple, but you know, whether I add it to my floor plan or not. So if I go do a new plan and I pop terrain into the new plan, knowing that I'm going to just turn it off later for my plot plan. Great. I mean, that's what I do. So I'll put it in. It's one of those things that depends on what you're trying to create. So I might add my terrain and here it's on. Great. I like it there. I'm going to work on it in my plan view. But when I'm ready to print this, I'm going to turn that off. So I'll use my all off tool here, my layers off that I put on my toolbar. I'll turn it off in this plan view. And then it's ready to go in my plot plan.
Yeah, he says I was thinking the survey plan view, but in your template, you have a plot plan survey mapping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I do it in 3 scales. And
Right.
even those, you know, really only need 1 because I've been finding more often than not, I'm changing it anyway. So I set these up so I could get closer to the right text size for the view that I want to create. So the higher the number, the bigger the text needs to be. Lately, I've been working on some really big plans with big plots on them, big surveys.
He's got another question here, but let's keep going on it. When I'm trying to set my grade, so the difference between the floor height, where do you
set the grade?
Trying to think back to his original question.
Well, the grade is set. I mean, the top, you know, when you add a terrain box to your plan, you're going to be setting the top of the terrain. Let me get back to the right view here. I guess I have my terrain off in that view. So your terrain is generally going to start out a certain distance from 0. Okay, every floor plan starts on 0. You got a 0 floor height top of sheathing on the first floor, and you're going to have a separation here. So just click on your terrain, open its dialog, and adjust this first number here, uncheck automatic, and you can specify how high that 0 point is above the terrain. I'm glad they changed the wording for that finally. So, you know, if I want 18 inches, that's where it's going to be to start out, and then I'm going to adjust from there. Now, when you're doing your contouring, keep in mind that this is now the new 0 that you're working with.
For the terrain.
For the terrain. The terrain the adjustments you make for the contouring lines have nothing to do with the floor here. Nothing. Okay. So when you're working on this and you're going to do some steps, let me go add a few contour lines here. So, oh crap, I opened a new window. Let's do that again. Go full screen. So when I'm working on this and I want to add contouring, okay, so you can see now I don't have a foundation, so of course I'm going to have a blank space there. So this is the new 0 for the terrain. Let's split the screen here, and let's go add a quick foundation. Oh, toolbars! Doggone it! Did this to me yesterday. Why does it do this, John?
It gets a 0 out of place. It puts a 1 in, you know, the 1s and 0s kind of get mixed up.
Well, it got mixed up. So now I got to go into preferences if I can.
Alex says his question's answered.
Oh, okay.
Going on this.
I got to go to preferences, reset my toolbars. Okay. Okay. And they didn't reset.
Once you get back there, there's one thing I want you to go show on the story pole.
Hang on, I'm going to have to get out of here. This is the second time it's happened to me in the last few days. I don't like it. All right, let's open her up again. Sometimes you got to get out of Chief. I mean, there's a data file that holds the information for your toolbars. Now, why it just did that, I don't
While
know.
you're working on that, your living area is turned on by your room labels. So if you turn on your room labels, you should see your living area.
All right, there we are. Okay, yeah, the living area. You can also turn it off here by double clicking on this arrow icon. And you can go here and turn it off down here at the bottom.
Yeah, I was actually wanting to turn it on. So
Oh, turn it on. Yeah, okay.
if it's not showing up when you turn on your room labels, that's where you got to go.
Yep. The other thing that used to work was when we did a plan check. Tools, they still have that function. I think they do. Checks, plan check. I think that turns it back on too,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. But plan check just gives you some basic things that you want to check in your plan. Egress windows, smoke detectors, some things like that.
So go to an elevation and throw on an auto story pole. There's cool markers that I didn't know for a long time. I thought might be good to show everybody.
Story pole. So that's an automatic pull down right here under your automatic dimensioning tools, auto story pole. And you can adjust those in your default settings. Okay. So let's go add one. And they act just like dimensions, how you can add and remove the places that it's dimensioning to.
So just before you go down too far here, what I wanted to show is, see how it says top of slab 0, grade level 0?
Yep.
Go show us how to change the grade level.
The grade level.
Yep.
This number right here.
Yep. Do you know?
No.
Click on the marker line and open it. And go to marker format, or no, extension marker. Sorry. I think that's where it is.
There it is right here. That's the wording for it.
That's the wording for it. But there's a place that you can set. Maybe it's up under dimensions. Where is it? I lost it.
Marker format.
Number that you want it to be.
You want to change the number?
Let's go under segments.
Segments. Yeah, here we can change the number right here. We can add.
I don't want either.
Yeah, this is not automatic. This is you're just changing something.
Where did it go?
Well, it might be. Is it in the defaults?
Maybe that's.
So if we go to dimensions and we go to story pole.
Yeah.
And we go to
locate elevations. Locate elevations. Right there. Grade level marker 0. Relative to first floor, right at the top.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Put in the number there. So like if you want it to be an 8-inch minimum, you can put that in there. If you want it to be 24-inch minimum, and then it will change your marker. You have to put a new one in.
I guess I need to put -8.
It changes to 0.7, minus 0.7.
Oh yeah, the 0.7. Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of a handy tool. Actually, it switched it. Oh yeah, you need to put -8 in the in the default. Yeah.
So all right, looks like we're about done. One more question. What do we got? Any?
Somebody asked about how you laid out the stairs for the stairs on your plan there.
Stairs on the plan. So what I did was I went up here and I laid out my little deck out here that's hanging up here. And then I went down here and I first of all, I just drew a stairway up to that to find out how many treads I needed. So I just drew that and opened the dialog and watch, look for my tread height. Now, I could have drawn the stairs going down from here that way. So I could have gone like this. I could have gone right mouse button to draw the stairs down, right mouse button. Got to remember that. I don't know why they don't give us an icon for that, but they don't. And I would add my other stair. See, it's giving me a warning message that you're not supposed to do that. Usually that doesn't do that off of a deck, which surprises me. So I get that in place, and then I click on the stair tool and add the landing. Then I open the dialog, and I check the riser height and add and remove risers. Okay. Add and remove treads to change the riser height. That should connect itself to the terrain in your plan. The stairs, if you get it down low enough. Okay. So if you have terrain in your plan, it will connect itself to it. I decided to go from the lower level up. So I did the same thing. I just drew my stair in, and I went like this, and then I went like this. Got my corners lined up, point to point them into place. Added my landing by clicking on the stair tool and adding the landing. Then I just pointed that into the right place of the framing. All right, move the whole stairway. Now, the issue that you run into with Chief here is when you're doing an open below, when you do an open below inside your house, you'll see the stairs through the hole in the floor. But in this particular case, I wanted to have the stairs showing on both floors. All right. So all I did was I highlighted the stair. I copied it, opened a new plan, pasted it in hold position, edit, paste, hold position. That's where that paste hold position comes in really handy. Converted that to a CAD detail. Group select, copy, go back to my plan where I want to place it on the second floor. Go to my second floor, paste, hold position, done. I did have to change the arrow. Actually, I deleted the arrow. I should probably put a down arrow in there. But that's how I got the lines to show up there. I do that once in a while when I'm doing decks. I want to see the stairs on both floors of the deck. I'll just do a CAD lines out of one of them.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yep. Alex is asking why won't my few steps in the garage meet with the 4-inch slab I added by the door?
Possibly because you drew them up instead of down. So,
Well, the garage, you'd want to do them up, wouldn't you? No, you wouldn't. Would you?
give me a second here. Find a plan that has a garage in it. So if I do a cross section through this garage, I don't have a step down. I didn't create a foundation, did I? Thought I created a foundation. No, I didn't. Which one is this? Oh, this is the old one. Hold on. I'll find a new plan, and I'll find the one that I fixed.
While you're looking for that, somebody asked a question about how do we manage our CAD details. I thought that might be a good topic for a show. How do we manage CAD details, library items, wall types, those kinds of things?
Yeah, that would be a really good topic.
Yeah.
All right, hang on here a second. I got to go find the plan. Here it is. That was this one. Here they're doing some remodeling. So, all right, do a cross section again. Okay, I guess I didn't add a step down there. No, I didn't.
if he has his floor,
because I didn't name it a garage before I created the foundation. Silly me. But I can fix that real quick. So let's go back here. Let's go down here. Pull this to. I guess I need to do this anyway, so I might as well do it right now. Go ahead, John. What are you saying?
I was going to say, if he's got a floor height established in his garage and a floor height established for the house, the stairs should draw right.
Yeah. So here again, I'm going to tell this room supplies the floor below for the garage. I'm going to set my floor to stem wall top at, should be minus 12 on this one. And I'm going to, oops, no, that's not right. That should be 4. Get out of there. 4. There we go. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that should be right. So when I look at that doorway now, you should have basically the thickness of the rim joist. I didn't get it right.
You don't have it a garage yet. You still got a wood floor in there.
I guess I should do that. Thank you very much. That helps. Okay.
And
So
you'd have
no,
your foundation, wouldn't you? To get it.
yeah, well, I could fix it here under, why didn't it hold the room name? Back in your garage. Okay, go to structure. And my stem wall top now, floor to stem wall top. Let's see. Stem wall top is going to be the top of the foundation wall. And that's going to be at, oh shit, that's right. This one, stem wall height, floor to stem wall. I always forget where to do this. Do I have to do this in the foundation plan? It's much easier when you check a garage, make it a garage before you build the foundation, but this works too. I just got to get to where I can change the stem wall top, which I got to go back up here because right now the stem wall is the same height as the floor. Stem wall top, here it is. So I have to do it on the first floor of a room I've named a garage and told it to be floor supplied by the room below. So what I would do is I would take the 10-inch floor joist, 9 1/4 plus 3/4, that's 10 plus 1.5 inches. So I got to go 11.5 minus 11.5 to move my foundation stem wall even with the rest of the foundation. And then I'm going to make this go to floor to stem wall would be 4. And now I'm going to have a step down in there. Floor to stem wall top, right? That should be right. This turned out to be a long question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see how I have a step there now? So if you just click in front of that, it should put the stairway in. You shouldn't even have to draw it. Just click it. Make sure you're clicking more on this room than that room. If you're drawing that, you want to, you should be able to draw it up like you would normally draw.
The only thing, if you drew the stairs down, it still would stop at the floor, wouldn't it? It wouldn't go clear to the terrain.
Well, if you're drawing it inside of a room, it has nothing to do with terrain.
Right. It's going to go to the floor.
Right.
All that's going to do is show which floor it displays on.
Yeah. But what I always do when I'm doing a step like that, or maybe let me lower the floor some more. So let's make that let's make that even bigger. So now I need a bigger stairway there, but all I ever do is I just click in front of the doorway where that's going down into the garage.
Oh, cool.
And it puts the right number of treads in.
I never did that before.
Yeah, you don't even have to draw it. Just click.
So long as there's a door there.
As long as the floors are in the right place, it should work just fine.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, just click.
That just saved me 5 clicks.
There you go. And you never draw the stairs going down from one floor to another. You always draw them from the lower floor up. Okay, so you draw it up, not down. If you need stairs to go down, then use your right mouse button, and that'll make the stairs go down.
Mm-hmm.
I must have my stair labels turned off. Okay, that's it for today. We've just run over by 10 minutes.
Yep.
You guys, thanks for being here again. Appreciate it. Again, check us out over at Chief Experts Academy. Got the Pro Academy over there. That a lot of stuff going on and more coming. So,
So-
guys,
Do you have a topic for next week?
I don't.
Can we do the CAD detail management and library management, that kind of thing?
I'll put it on my list, and I won't commit to it right now, though.
Sounds good.
If I commit to it, then I have to do it, right? But if you guys have suggestions, by all means, drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. This is Dan and John signing off from the Designer Show.
See you later.
Bye, guys.